Already at 20 miles an hour. 25, okay. Holy crap, we're about to hit 30. And of course, we're just obliterating this hill. Holy, 18, 19 miles an hour. 41, 42, what? 43? Are you kidding me? We're gonna turn it around and do that again. 43 again. I am seriously impressed by this bike. What's up guys, it's Alex from Maximum Charge. Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, welcome. Today we are starting off talking about the bike that is behind me, the Vitilan H5. So I guarantee you guys have probably seen many different versions of this style of e-bike. However, Vitilan is seemingly, from my experience, the only company who will give you honest specifications on the power output and the battery capacity of this bike. You'll see this bike listed as 4,000 watts, 5,000 watts, 30 amp hours, 32 amp hours. And from my experience, those numbers are wrong. However, Vitilan lists this H5 at 3,000 watts, 25 amp hours, 52 volts. Those are the correct numbers. I checked, I looked at the controller, and the very first thing I did when I got this bike is I ripped apart the battery to count the cells. And I was pleasantly surprised to see 25 amp hours of 21,700 cells. So huge shout out to Vitilan for giving us accurate specs on this bike. I'm recording this right now after the top speed test of this bike. I tested this bike at 43 miles an hour. I do all of my top speed testing the same. I go in one direction and then I go in another direction to try and negate effects of wind and elevation changes. And we got 43 miles an hour going both ways on this bike. There's a few minor things that I don't like about this bike, which I'm going to show you right now. But in future videos, I will show you guys how to perfect this already incredible value e-bike. If you're watching this channel, I know you guys like to go fast, and if you can do it on a budget, even better. Let's take a look at the specs and components of this bike. All right, so we're going to start at the top. Check this out. Big old ergonomically styled rubber handlebar grips, Logan branded hydraulic disc brake levers, horn button, light switch. We'll take a look at those lights in a second. Dual motor to single motor button. Very simple. I like that you just press one button and you can switch from one to another. I don't like it where in some systems you have to hold the button and it switches from rear to front to dual motor. This makes way more sense and is much easier to use. Simple control panel, simple looking display. You got your battery bar, speedometer. We have our trip meter, odometer, max speed, average speed, and it even shows you your voltage. The usual Mickey Mouse style shifter, thumb throttle on the right. In future videos, we will be switching this out to a half twist throttle. Cable management looks pretty good. Looks like these cables are routed externally on the frame. If you notice right here, there is a plug that is empty. That's because this bike does come with a phone holder that I did not mount, but it does plug right in here. On that phone holder is a USB port that you can use to charge your phone. But for today's ride, we did leave that off. Pretty basic non-adjustable stem. And in future videos, we will be switching this out to an adjustable stem to give the ride position a little bit more height. Here's what that front light looks like. Pretty bright. And here's what the rear light looks like. Here's what it looks like when you hit the brakes. Budget suspension fork in the front with a preload and lockout adjustment. You get a plastic fender in the front and in the rear. Generic 24 by 4 inch tires. So these are smaller than the usual full-size wheels. Some might say this is the perfect wheel size for fat tired e-bikes. Here's our front motor rated for 52 volts. Same thing in the rear. I do like this bracket down here that's bolted on to this front fork, which will help keep the axle in place. So this is a good safety feature for this front mounted motor. For brakes, we get 180mm disc brake rotors with dual piston Logan branded hydraulic disc brake calipers. Same exact setup in the back. The controller is mounted down here. I did take this apart to see the numbers in the controller. I'll show you guys what the controller looks like, and I'll also do the math as to what the maximum power of this system is, both at the nominal 52 voltage and the full power for when this battery is fully charged. But overall, this bike is going to be peaking at somewhere around 3,000 watts. The one thing I don't like is that when the suspension fork does compress, it will tap ever so slightly the box that the controller sits inside. I do wish this controller was mounted somewhere else. In future videos, I will show you guys how you can take the controller out and mount it in a more ideal location. Taking this battery out is a little bit of a tight fit with these cables here, but I'll show you how we can fix that in future videos. Battery indicator button right here. Again, I did take this battery apart to verify that it has the correct number of cells to give us the 25 amp hours, 52 volts. Great job, Vitilan, for giving us accurate information. Looks like we get a mount right here for a water bottle holder. Decently wide, squishy seat, which comes with a nice opening for some ventilation. Pretty good looking rear rack, rated to hold a max of 25 kilograms, which is about 50 pounds. This plastic fender is a little bit floppy, but what I've done for other bikes with this design is I simply make 2 holes in the fender and I zip tie it to the rack right here. I'll show you guys how to do that in future videos. Basic 7-speed freewheel, Shimano Tourney TZ derailleur with a derailleur guard, and a medium-sized chainring. This bike comes with basic metal pedals. So when the seat is at its lowest position, here's what I look like on the bike. As you can tell, I can easily reach the ground with my feet. Here's what the riding position looks like. So if you're a shorter rider, this bike is going to be a great option. Standover height for this bike is nice and low. And here is what the suspension travel is like for the fork. And even though this bike is a dual motor bike, it is on the smaller side, which means it's not going to be all that heavy. This is a pretty light bike. And of course, you can remove the battery and make it even lighter. All right, here we go. 0 to 20 acceleration test, throttle only from 0 miles an hour. So this is going to be the soft start. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Very soft start, and then the speed really picks up. 20, wow, that was quick. So let's do that again. So we're gonna be rolling, come to a complete stop, and then quickly accelerate, and you guys will see just how much faster it is. Here we go, so we're moving, ready, stop, and go. 20, all right, pretty quick. Let's move on down to our long hill climb test. We're gonna do the same thing, stop and then immediately accelerate so we can get the best possible time. Here we go. Stop and go. All right, we are moving. Already at 20 miles an hour. All right, wow, 25, okay. Holy crap, we're about to hit 30. Ho, ho, ho. That's time. Wow, I think we crossed over at like 32 miles an hour, somewhere on there. And just to show you guys the speedometer is accurate, we're off by at most 1 mile an hour. As always, let's check the free spinning speed, in this case of the rear wheel. Pedal assist 5, so if you watch right here, if we start from 0, it's a very soft start. And slowly but surely, that speed goes all the way. Looks like up to 47-ish miles an hour. And watch this, if we're moving and then we stop and then go, it picks up the speed much faster. So again, little safety feature. From a standstill, it will not do front burnouts unless you stop and then immediately go, and then you'll get full power. Let's see how quick we can get to that free rotating speed for our downhill test. Holy crap! All right, so we hit almost 43 miles an hour. So we hit almost 43 miles an hour going down that small hill. That is ridiculous. For a bike in this price range, you get a whole lot of power. Riding around on this bumpy sidewalk, you could tell that this is a hardtail bike, but it feels pretty solid. I don't hear any kind of rattling from this bike, which is nice. Dropping off the curb and then hitting this curb, I do feel the budget front fork working. It is what it is. It's there, it does work. Nothing fancy. When you guys buy a bike like this, you are paying for the power, not the suspension. Checking out the handlebar width test, not too narrow, not too wide, just right. Actually a little bit on the wider side from a lot of the bikes I've reviewed. Turning radius tests, look at that, we can go all the way to 90 degrees. That's great. Moving on to our steep hill climb test. We got our GPS out, we're gonna stop and then gun it and see what kind of speed we get. Stop and go. Gotta be careful to not wipe out around the corner. And of course, we're just obliterating this hill. Holy hell, 18, 19 miles an hour. Wow. Wow. For a bike in this price range, that is an insane amount of torque. Let's do a quick brake test. We're gonna roll down this hill, get to 20 miles an hour, and hit the brakes. See how we do. Ready, brake. All right. I smell that brake pad material. So, if you guys could hear me, there was a fairly significant skid. These generic tires, they're not the grippiest tires. So the wheels did great locking up. I think the braking was pretty good for a budget bike. No complaints there. That's about what you can expect from the 180 millimeter disc brake rotors with the dual piston calipers. Pretty average stopping distance, no complaints. Moving on down to what you guys really care about, which is our top speed test. We're gonna roll on down the hill to our top speed testing site and see how we do. All right, guys, pedal assist 5, dual motor. What we'll do is make sure there's no cars in front of us. We'll pedal up to speed and then we'll see where the throttle takes us. And we will do this section of road in one direction and in the other direction to hopefully negate for the effects of wind and any small elevation changes. All right, guys, here we go. We're gonna pedal up to speed and see where the throttle takes us. Looks like we got a little bit of traffic up ahead. We're tucking down a bit. 39, already 40, 41, 42, what? Oh my God, 43? Are you kidding me? 43 miles an hour. Wow, that's faster than I thought we would go. Holy crap. So in terms of speedometer accuracy at low speeds, looks like it's accurate, but once we get to those higher speeds, the speedometer is actually slower than the actual speed. That's very interesting. Usually it's the other way around. All right, here we go. Pedal, 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 and we're tucked down a bit. Look at that, we're killing it. 39. 40, 42, holding 40, oh, there's 43, back down to 42, 43 again. All right, guys, I am seriously impressed by this bike. There are many bikes that look like this out there on the internet, and I've reviewed a few of them. This is the fastest. This is probably the cheapest way to go 40 miles an hour plus. From the perspective of top speed and torque, this bike is an incredible value. So right now I am noticing that there is a substantial amount of voltage sag in this battery, and that's something I've seen many times before on bikes very similar to this. And the reason why is because the battery cells in this bike are getting worked a little bit harder than on some other e-bikes because this is a high current controller. So the controller is demanding a lot from the batteries. I would say we are on the upper limit as to what these battery cells should comfortably be doing. However, again, I am very, very pleasantly surprised and happy to see that Vitilan is being honest with their battery specifications. They do say that this is a 25 amp hour battery. And it is. I took the battery apart, I ripped it open and I looked. And I was actually surprised with the build quality. The battery itself has copper bus bars in it, which is something you do not see on low-end batteries. Let's check the pedal assist level speeds. And the speed is limited to each specific level, so it doesn't matter if you're pedaling or throttling, you'll get the same speed. Looks like level 1 we get 8 miles an hour. Level 2, 14. Level 3, 20. Level 4 gives us 30 miles an hour. And of course, level 5 will give you that ridiculous 43 mile an hour top speed. So to summarize today's video, this might be the cheapest, most effective way to go over 40 miles an hour. Not near 40, not 40, but over 40 miles an hour. So far, this is the fastest, cheap dual motor e-bikes that I've tested tons of power. And again, I am incredibly happy to see that Vitilan is being honest about their specifications when it comes to the motor controller and the battery. And the build quality on this battery, as you guys saw, is better than most other low-end batteries of these types of bikes. So if you guys are looking for a budget-oriented way to go over 40 miles an hour, this might be it right here. And since Vitilan is honest with their specifications, they're not lying to you, it would make me believe that they are a superior company to the other companies that sell pretty much clones of this e-bike, even though this one seemingly goes faster than the other ones. I will leave this bike linked in the description below, along with any available coupon codes or discounts. This bike is already being sold at a fantastic price, and with my discount code you can save a couple more bucks. If you guys love these reviews, using that link to purchase this bike will help support this channel at no extra cost to you. Thank you to the guys that are using my links. I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate it also if you buy from Vitilan, the company who seems like is the only honest company when it comes to selling this specific type of e-bike. As a reviewer, it is incredibly frustrating to have to say this battery is advertised to have X, Y, and Z rating of amp hours, because you never really know until you test it and verify it yourself. And thankfully, Vitilan does give accurate information. So I will be making more videos on this bike because I know a lot of my viewers are interested in higher powered e-bikes, and if you can get that power at the lowest possible price, that's always a huge plus. So for future videos on this bike, I'm gonna be showing you guys two things. First, how to easily mount a second battery right here, so you can run two batteries together and get double the range and better efficiency from the batteries, because when you run two batteries together, they're gonna be stressed a lot less, which is overall better for the system, and you might even get a little bit more top speed due to decreased voltage sag. Number two, I'm gonna show you guys how to move this controller out of this area so that the front fork has clearance. And in my opinion, I think those are pretty easy mods that most people could probably do, which would perfect this already very good value e-bike. So that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you think of the Vitilan H5. Is this a bike that you would get? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like content like this, subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notification bell. That's it for today. Until next time.